continue on. Wherever you feel called to pick up the pieces in the story.
I forget where we left off. I was just about to answer a question, I think.
You were answering a question and cut out. But I did not write down what that question was.
I think we were talking about my hesitation to reach out to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess just fear of. Yeah, I think we had gotten to rejection. I think that's what we're starting to talk about. Yeah, definitely like a fear of rejection that I've reached out before, and then we were going into, I didn't give them clear ways for them to help me out before. I didn't know what I needed.
Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit. I've got a good understanding of where things are as it concerns your parents right now. Are there other spaces that you feel stuck right now?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I've been trying to write an apology letter to my daughter, and I can't. I wanted to put together not a rough draft, but bullet points, and I don't know how to apologize because I know what I did in certain circumstances, right? I yelled a lot, not a lot, but I yelled at her in multiple circumstances that probably made her feel nervous, scared, unloved. I'm having a hard time starting.
Okay. How old is your daughter?
17.
Okay. What is your relationship with her right now?
I have not talked to her in going on, it'll be 2 years in June.
Okay.
You want some backstory or?
I'm curious right now as to what did she tell you that she wanted no contact with you?
I believe her mother did.
Okay.
And I don't think that was on her mother. At the time, it was on her therapist was telling her that she needed to not talk to me anymore.
Okay. So, what do you think is the hardest part about starting the apology?
Wrapping my head around how it's affected her. So I've yelled a few times. I've never touched her. I understand why, and especially given the therapist, which, her mother got her away from because she thought the therapist was actually a bit toxic, and just telling her to shut everybody out of her life, which I understand that's a method, but you should be shutting out certain people, not everyone, I think. Mm-hmm. And that's, my opinion. That's obviously not science or facts, but I forget what the point was. I guess I'm having a hard time understanding. That's what it is. I know what I went through and I endured, and I still got through it, and that I feel like I didn't do anything nearly as egregious to her, and I'm having a hard time formulating my apology without introducing some of that, and I know that that's not right, and it's not going to help the situation. However valid it is, or invalid, it's not going to help the situation. And I think every time I go to write, I'm getting stuck on, I can't empathize. I understand, right, with what I went through, but I can't empathize well because of how much more I had, where she's gotten like 20% of it and she's cutting me out. And I think I'm having a hard time weighing all that and apologizing without it turning into, you didn't have that.
Right.
It's the wrong thing to ever say to her.
Right. So first of all, I want to give you huge props on the fact that you know that you bringing and introducing your past, valid or not, is not going to help rectify your situation with her, right?
Yes.
And here's the reality. I firmly believe no matter how hard we try, how good we do or we don't do, we will traumatize our children. Every parent alive. Now, with that said, there is a difference when I say we traumatize our children to give them shit to work through versus flat out abuse. Not the same, right? Like,
right.
But we all, like, I grew up not in an abusive family at all, but I grew up in a very loving family that was a helicopter-type landing pad. Therefore, the way I raised my kids was very much more hands-off than my parents ever were because I felt like my parents were way too involved in everything. So there's a genuine balance there with some of that. But when it comes to, you have to keep in mind, like you're saying, she went through less than I did, and she cut me out. But we also have to take into account her age and the influences that were helping her make those decisions. So we do not know for a fact that it was 100% her standing up saying, this isn't healthy for me, I don't want this. Because at 15, you're still wildly impressionable.
Yes.
So there's that to consider. There's also I'm thinking of, like, you're saying, like, you're having a hard time. But what if you started by writing the letter completely unfiltered? Make sure that there is nobody in the sender, or if you're doing it handwritten, like, and not to ever actually get to her, but pull all those pieces out that you're feeling. Let them come out of you and give them space to breathe and to live, because while you saying it and bringing it up to her is not going to validate anything with her, it's not going to help that situation. There is a piece of you that needs to come to terms. You need to come to terms for yourself with how you parented her versus how you were parented. And the fact that, and I'm going to say this, I'm going to use this term in the most loving way just because I think most of us relate to it, you don't want to be a boomer in it. You don't want to say that I got through it. Like, you want to recognize that there were their own set of difficulties, and you want her to heal, and you want to restore that relationship.
Right.
But I'm thinking, if you set out and you start and you get all, like, just word vomit all of it, let it all come out, then you can sit down and go through it and start piecing together, what is it that you need to say to her? And leave out those parts. It's almost like you're writing a letter to yourself and to her at the same time. And then pick out the parts that go to her.
Right. So by me writing down the unfiltered version, despite the fact that I don't want to send it to her, it's still going to get the pieces that I do need to send to her. It's going to get out some of the stuff that I'm kind of holding on to and is holding me back. And then I can edit and crop from there. Yeah. So that at least I get started, right? Because, I mean, I've started this a couple of times over the last few months and have gotten nowhere because of it. So.
And at the very least, it's going to give you an outline and direction.
Yes.
So you can say, I know I yelled, but I didn't hit you, and I got hit, I got this, I got that, and you can go back and you can say, okay, the fact that I got hit is irrelevant, and then what I want you to do is pat yourself on the back for not repeating the entire cycle, and let yourself forgive yourself for the pieces that you could have done better, because you know what? Fuck. We can all do better.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I do this for a living, but I would be fucking, my kids would tell you I'm a flat out liar if I said I don't ever yell at my kids. I yell and scream like a fucking idiot because we're human.
Right.
But you can also see where, okay, I'm going to give myself credit for the fact that, whatever happened between us and how we got to this point is irrelevant, because no matter what, I held to the fact that I never physically abused her. I never, did those things. And that right there makes you world higher on data fear that so many people can say.
Right.
Also, once you get everything out, if you need help formulating and kind of putting the letter together and to send ready, I can absolutely help you.
Okay. Yeah, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
A second set of eyes that, is impartial, that can reshape certain things when I might come off a way I didn't think I was coming off. Absolutely.
Yeah, because it's hard when you're writing and it is so emotionally fueled and there's a lot at stake. It's easy to let in some of that emotion that should be a little bit more guarded at the beginning.
Right.
Do you know where you want things to go with your daughter?
I think at this point, she's 17 years old. That's going to be up to her. I can give her an idea of what I want, and I don't even know who she is right now. 2 years is a long time during those growth stages that I don't really know who she is.
I want to give you.
So I guess that's part. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I want to give you so much credit for the way you answered that and saying that, like, it's really going to ultimately be up to her, and the fact that I think there's a beauty in recognizing and acknowledging that I don't know who you are today, but I would really like to, if you're willing, like opening that door, and then it is up to her.
Yeah. Yeah, because it takes two people in a relationship. I can't dictate what she wants or needs, and I don't know what she wants or needs. I know what she wants now, which is to not talk to me, and that's the only thing I want to get past. That's really my only focus, is to be able to talk to her again.
And I think there's a lot of possibilities. As long as you continue to honor her own autonomy, which you absolutely are. What else? Where else are you feeling stuck?
Those are the two big ones. I am feeling So I feel like I've done a lot of work lately, and I got a therapy workbook which has been helpful, and I've been doing the stuff. I kind of stopped on that recently because I moved, and there's just been a lot of shit going on in my life. But I've also been able, like, because I've been doing the work, like, I've noticed things that used to stress me out don't anymore. I'm like, oh, that's not that stressful. I just needed the mental space to be able to handle it. Like,
Yes.
where before it was, you're carrying all these burdens, and adding something onto it's an issue, not because that thing's an issue, but because of all the other shit. So it's been actually really freaking awesome. And I as much as I hate it, I honestly, I've tried to set myself up for success here, and I'll open a bottle of wine and sit there and with the workbook and my laptop and my notebook, and make myself sit down for 20 minutes, even when I don't want to. I forget where I was going with that, but I need to get back to it. It's just this last month has been, I'm constantly on the road, I'm moving, and I've been in 12 different directions. So
Yeah.
And I feel very lonely in that a lot of friends age, but they still very immature. Not that I'm very mature now, but just going from where I emotionally mature. Going from where I was to where I am now, I want to have better and deeper conversations with my friends, and I'm finding that I can't. They're not on that level. So that's been odd and weird and difficult, I guess.
That is all the feels come back into my body hearing you say that, because I remember it so well. Healing is beyond lonely. And the part that sucks the most is the fact that you realize you either grow with your friendships or without them. Some of them you get to salvage on a more of a surface level. Some of them at some point aren't salvageable at all, because you start picking up and realizing, like, the more you get into healthy relationships, the more you start picking up, like, God, I never realized how toxic this person was, even though we were inseparable. It is. There will come a point in your journey where the universe will start handing you more people at that deeper level.
Okay.
But before you get there, it's fucking lonely. And I wish I had something else to say other than I fucking understand it. Like, and anybody who's gone through it understands it.
Well, I appreciate the honesty, and it also helps me feel like I'm not crazy, because I've been, like, trying to open up to my friend, and a lot of this is me. I know that. I was always very closed off as a person. I didn't talk, even to my good friends, about certain shit that was going on, because I didn't know how to handle it. I was masking it with alcohol and partying and everything else. And I don't know how much of it now that I'm starting to open up is, either them not being emotionally mature and or them just trying to figure out how I am changing or have changed or whatever. If that makes sense.
So you're going to be able to start gauging emotional intelligence based on their reactions.
Mm-hmm.
And based on those that do try to ask some deeper questions or ask how they can support you, or they attempt to say, okay, tell me about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's going to be the ones who are like, well, why are you changing? There was nothing wrong with you. You're fucking crazy. And a huge part of healing, and I absolutely hate this, but a huge part of healing is being gaslit. Because people are resistant to changing. So it does start to feel at certain points like, is it me? Is it all me? Have I always been the problem? Like, I knew in my family, I am still nothing more than the 16-year-old that I was when I was 16. And that's the only person they will ever see me as.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't represent who I am at all today.
Right.
But I've come to say, like, okay, that's how you see me, that's fine. You don't need my energy in a lot of circumstances.
Right.
I will tell you, in the road to healing, you do lose people.
Okay.
It fucking sucks. But you're not crazy. You're absolutely not crazy. And when you start having those moments where you're like, okay, they said this, because here's the thing. You're going to start challenging the conversation and ideas and beliefs that you've always held as a collective.
Okay. That makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
And some of them are going to be open to it, and some of them are not. So some of them who you've never ever opened up about your past and your history with, they're not going to care. And so the hardest part is accepting people or relationships for the truth of what they are versus the way we romanticize it in our heads. Yeah.
Well, and I guess on the flip side of that, everyone can't be everything. So,
Nope.
You know, before I was like, oh yeah, this person's a really good friend, and that means that we go out and drink, or this person's a really good friend. I could call them if I was moving a couch. That's going to change a lot, and I've already seen it change a lot. And I guess that just means that, yeah, maybe that's a good friend that I can go drinking with, but I'm not drinking as much, so I'm not going to see them as much, and it's just going to change the relationship, because I used to put everything in that's a good friend, and this is exactly what we do, and that's all we do every time we hang out.
And here's the reality of that. I am a firm believer that the people we get when they come into our life is who we needed them to be at that moment.
Right.
So when I was entering into my divorce, I met 3 women who became my absolute ride or die, end all be all, everything. Without the 3 of them, I would never have gotten through my divorce. But once I started healing, they were not going to heal with me.
Right.
And shit, I mean, with us, it really blew up. But did it have to blow up like that? Not necessarily. Did I make mistakes too? Absolutely. But it was the point was they were there for me when I needed them, and then our time together had come to an end. And I don't think that we talk enough about that as a society, that friendships aren't necessarily meant to last forever. So
I don't think we realize that until we get older and more mature or more emotional. mature in this case.
And some people will recognize it and say, like, that they don't, like, I had one girlfriend. We were friends from the time we were 3. And I remember when she said to me, she made a comment about, why do you think I still have all my friends from high school and you don't? And at first it was like a knife. And then I was like, wait a second. I'm not the same person I was in high school. I don't want